I need somebody.
Help!
Not just anybody.
Help!
I need someone.
Help!
And no, I'm not talking about going to Pat Connolly Tavern and meeting some friends there or having some comfort food either, although that's certainly an option for you. They've been open since 1942, and they're located at the corner of Oakland and Tam in beautiful Dogtown, and they are a City on Tap bar with Michelob Ultra specials on game day. So check them out next time you're in Forest Park or the zoo or just hanging around Dogtown. But with so many key players injured for St. Louis City at the moment, Lutz Pfannenstiel has turned to the thing that he does best, the German football transfer market. But this transfer is a little unlike the other German transfers that he's done in the past. For one, he's not going to the Zweite Bundesliga this time. This time he's going to the mid-table of the Bundesliga itself. And he's signing a player that has been a regular starter. Well, when he's been healthy anyway. Fredrik Jensen is a midfielder for FC Augsburg that has started as recently as April 12th against Bochum. And as you can see, he gets frequent starting minutes, though he does get subbed out often at the 60-minute mark. The one exception, though, is a full game shift as a starter for the Finland national team. So how is St. Louis getting him now, and why is Augsburg willing to let him go now? Well, remember that first fixture page? Well, here's a look at the previous 10 matches before that page, and this shows someone that is not a regular in any lineup, whether it's Augsburg's or Finland's, and there is a noticeable 3-month gap in between appearances. And that can be explained by one simple fact. He's injury prone. And did I mention he's coming in to replace other injured or injury prone players? But perhaps this is a reason why Augsburg is willing to let him go now instead of waiting for him to walk on a free this summer, making this a different story than St. Louis's recent attempts at Cedric Teuchert and Aaron Opoku. And of course, only one of those panned out. So another attacking-minded midfielder that was playing in Germany and is another value signing. I know it sounds all too familiar and perhaps maybe a little tiresome that we're once again dipping into Central Europe to plug a gap in the roster, and we'll get to that point in just a little bit. But before we start judging this transfer, let's talk about the players St. Louis is getting first. Fredrik hails from Porvoo, England, just up the coast from Helsinki to the northeast. Yes, Porvoo is an actual name for a town, and this town looks quite cold. Brr. So you can hardly blame Jensen for seeking warmer climates, and after a Finnish youth academy career that included 3 years at HJK in Helsinki, he moved to the Netherlands and joined FC Twente's academy in 2013 at the age of 16. It would take him 3 years to break into the Eredivisie side, where he made his debut at the age of 19. He's the blonde attacker in this video, and as you can see, he was deployed as a right attacking mid and showed a propensity for not just getting the ball into the opponent's box, but distributing goals as well. In 55 matches over 2 seasons for Twente, he would dish out 7 assists, but he also showed a knack for scoring, bagging 9 goals during his time by finding himself in dangerous positions to score by already being in the box or beating defenders on the fast break, like you see here. He also had a fast break into the Finland national team setup. During his time at Twente, he would break into the national team squad in 2017, where he's been a regular fixture since, and actually scored the game-tying goal in his debut in a friendly against Austria, a national team that currently sits 22nd in the FIFA World Rankings. Now, where does Finland sit, you might ask? 69th. And no, I'm not going to say the line because Finland's national team currently sits behind Uzbekistan, Jordan, and North Macedonia in the FIFA World Rankings, and barely behind Cape Verde, Montenegro, and Bolivia. So not exactly nice, now is it? His promising offensive skills caught the eye of German Bundesliga club FC Augsburg in 2018, and they signed the 20-year-old Finn to a €3 million transfer. But in what would become a theme in his 7 years at Augsburg, he started off his tenure with an ankle ligament tear, finally getting some action around Halloween of 2018. A quick look at Transfermarkt might make you blush. Aside from the 2019-20 season, Jensen has missed significant time of every single season at Augsburg, with him missing double-digit matches each and every year, and perhaps the reason he didn't miss double-digit matches in 2019-20 was that it was because the COVID season. For comparison's sake, here's the injury history of a player that he's coming in to give relief to, and one that comes with a fragile label himself. As you can see, Alfredo Morales' injury isn't nearly as prolific. Even Joachim Nilsson's injury page doesn't look as dire. Another player that St. Louis fans are quick to note is injury-prone, along with fellow Swedish import Rasmus Alm. His injury history is so short, I can almost fit his entire face in this screenshot. So yes, we do have a right to be deeply concerned about Jensen's ability to stay healthy, but what about when he is healthy? What does he provide? When assembling material for this video, it was far easier to find game tape of his time at FC Twente than it was with Augsburg, perhaps a symptom of him not being consistently in the lineup, but also because of the Bundesliga itself, which is notoriously stingy with its game footage. He's averaged 15 matches per season in 7 seasons, topping 1,000 minutes just once, the prior 2023-24 season, when, to be fair, he was a regular starter until the season ended in April 2024, at least for him, when he went down with a calf injury that took him out for the last 7 matches. One thing we do know about Jensen is he's changed a bit as a player from his time at Twente. He was more of an attacking midfielder there, but as time has gone on, he has played deeper in the midfield at Augsburg. Sometimes as a center mid, sometimes as a right mid. Football Manager gives us an idea of a player's abilities, as these attributes are on a scale of 1 through 20. Nowadays, FM sees him as a box-to-box midfielder, which is a role that Marcel Hartl is currently borrowing due to Edu Lubin being away from the club. An attacking midfielder that primarily plays on the wing but can play centrally and even can play deep into the center midfield role. Geez, that type of player sounds so familiar, but I'm having trouble putting a face to this type of player. Maybe it'll come to me later. But a look at his 2023-24 season also shows us the kind of player he is. To the left is how he compares to attacking midfielders or wingers, and to the right is how he compares to central midfielders. I think it's fair to say that based on these graphs, his days of being an attacking midfielder are sunsetting, and perhaps it's fair to view him more as a central midfielder now, a player that can still pull some strings while also being responsible defensively. Oh hey, I did find some Jensen game tape. This was his match on December 3rd, 2023 against Eintracht Frankfurt. He was playing as a right midfielder in this one, and perhaps from the looks of this goal, he's not completely cooked yet. He even has a nice cross to set up an assist on what would eventually be the deciding goal, perhaps more indicative of the player Lutz is hoping he is in St. Louis. So maybe Indy Vasilov isn't exactly an apples-to-apples comparison with Fredrik Jensen, though he may be indirectly filling Vasilov's spot on the roster. Maybe he should be compared more to Jonas Horn, a player that was also a reclamation project from Germany that one could argue that wasn't getting the most out of his current abilities, and that Lutz is getting the most out of right now. Let's look back at Jensen's injury history and tell me what you see. Calf injury, ankle injury, foot inflammation, dead leg. Whew, good thing that dead leg came back to life before the rigor mortis set in. I mean, he wouldn't have scored that goal you just saw had he only been on one leg. Ankle problems, thigh problems, ankle problems again, and on the other page is an ankle injury, an ankle ligament tear, and a foot injury. So many leg injuries that have taken literal years off of his career, and I'm honestly wondering how he's even standing at this point, much less how a club can still view him as a speedy attacking winger. And it was looking hopeful that Jensen would carry a promising 2023-24 campaign with him into this season, but this time he added groin injury to his laundry list of injuries, and the resulting surgery kept him out from the start of October through the Bundesliga winter break. So after 7 years and a glimmer of hope that maybe Jensen was turning his career around and maybe he was going to be the player that Augsburg was getting, it's understandable maybe why the two sides want a fresh start from each other. Kicker was first with the transfer rumors to St. Louis before Transfermarkt's Manuel Veth confirmed them, and in Kicker's article, they noted that Augsburg have a 19-year-old youngster ready to take over Jensen's role, and are perhaps eager to give him a chance, much like they gave a 19-year-old Jensen a chance not so long ago. Also, Google Translate, you have a sense of humor. I highly doubt Lutz is planting a big sloppy one on Jensen's lips when he signs. So I think you can understand why Lutz wants to go out and grab a midfielder before the transfer window slams shut this month. Leuven is away from the club, Chris Durkin is hurt, Morales has been dependent on way too much for a 34-year-old with shaky legs who was jobless 2 months ago before this video was recorded. Olaf clearly is easing Thomas Ostrak back into the plans after his injury last year. year, and Jacob Reich is in danger of finding his face on the side of a milk carton at this rate because of how long he's been missing. Even though Rasmus Alm is a winger, he too needs to be factored into the injury crisis because his absence has required a shuffling of the lineup and players maybe not playing their best position. The fact that St. Louis is moving ahead with the purchase now instead of waiting for the summer also highlights the urgency the front office and coaching staff alike are feeling at the moment. Olaf did allude to possible transfer moves at a recent press conference, and he too is also feeling the pressure as someone that is still settling into his role and has been dealt a pretty bad hand with injuries so far. One thing Lutz did mention on KMOX recently was that he feels it takes 10 games for a new coach to settle in. Jensen might be ready to go by that 10th game, which is an away match at LAFC on April 27th. By the way, if you miss any of my St. Louis City SC watch-alongs, they're coming back on April 27th against LAFC. You've waited long enough. But let's ask the question right now. Is Jensen the right move for St. Louis right now, or is he just a panic purchase? Time will tell on that. At the time, Jonas Horn looked like a head-scratcher when St. Louis picked him up, but before he recently got hurt, he looked like an inspired signing playing next to Henry Kessler in the three-in-the-back setup as a left center back, and sometimes even as a wingback, he held his own there too. So it's right to be skeptical about this Jensen signing, just as it's right to be critical about how the team has performed and has been slow to adapt to a defense-first mindset. But need I remind you that the Jensen news broke in the middle of April, and the season does linger on into October 18th. That's the final match. So there's still 6 months left to go, and there's still a lot of soccer left to be played. And I don't blame you for feeling like this Jensen signing is just more of the same, another player that we don't really recognize, that may work out, that may not work out, and why aren't we giving the same opportunities to players in Mexico, in Central America, South America, even Africa? We did sign an Australian player, so I can't even get on Lutz for ignoring Oceania, but I think it is a valid concern that at this point, we seem to be going back to the well that we know at this point. And is that well going to work? I mean, so far, St. Louis has come out of the gate a mixed bag so far at this point, and they've been playing a style of play that is starting to turn off some fans right now. And here we go again, signing another player from Germany. Is this going to be the solution to the problem, or is there a bigger problem in that we need to diversify our roster? Again, time will tell on that. If Jensen does fulfill the rest of his contract in St. Louis and he's perfectly healthy, he has shown quality in the past. It's just a matter of him staying healthy. But remember, the inverse of him, Joachim Nilsson, came over to St. Louis with a reputation for being healthy, and now he's been injury prone, so sometimes you just never know. And I hope that St. Louis City's front office has done their homework on Jensen's injury history, and hopefully that they feel that Jensen can be a solid member of the club going forward. But again, time will tell. If he truly is a panic purchase, that will just end up being a very expensive Band-Aid that will need quite a few himself. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Am I being too negative on Jensen? Am I being too negative on Lutz's transfer philosophy? Or do you think that Jensen could turn out to be a diamond in the rough? Let me know in the comments below. If you're an Augsburg fan that has found this video, let me know what you think of Jensen and whether you think that he still has something left to offer, or if you think the well has run dry with him. And of course, a big thank you to the Zombie Ultras who show up and show out every week for St. Louis City matches, those of you that are in St. Louis anyway, and for supporting this channel as well. Your support means a whole lot to me, helps keep this channel going, helps me bring content to you as well, and it even includes Pat Connolly Tavern. Thank you for your support as well. And of course, the supporter section, the 99-cent supporter section, you are the originals, and thank you for your support. This is your soccer zombie, Tom Franklin, and it's nice to do one of these signing videos again. You seem to enjoy them. A lot of you discovered me through these type of videos, and I do enjoy researching and making them for you. There's plenty more in this playlist right up here. I'm sure you'll find one that you'll like. You have quite a few to choose from because Lord knows Lutz has been busy this past year.